Hello guys, welcome to my channel, John Davis True Crime. We're going to get right into it. This story is truly a crime. I can't wait to see what you guys think. Now, today, we're talking about Kiera Newsome. All right? Now, I'm going to set the scene for you of how this all started. Kiera Newsome was out and about with her boyfriend, Marquel Norman. And this is in December of 2000. So they're out and about together, and Marquel ends up getting gunned down right beside of Kiera. Okay? Now this girl is young, and this is a tragedy, that she experienced this in itself. Being right there to see her boyfriend, who I'm sure, young teenage girls, she was in love, she was, and she just sees this guy get gunned down right beside her. All right? Now fast forward, April 16th, 2001. All right? A car pulls up. There are three young ladies in it. One of those young ladies exits the car. She gets out, goes to this house. Now, there's four guys outside at the house at this time, okay? She gets out. She goes to the door. She knocks on the door, doesn't get a response. She asks if they know where somebody is. They don't know who she's talking about. She walks back to the car, all right? When she gets back to the car, she pulls out a gun, and she shoots Christian Hinton in the neck. Now, Hinton is a known member of the Block Crips, and he dies 2 weeks after this. All right? Now, Hinton's murder was witnessed by three other men, and they were Ryan Faust, Bobby Johnson, and Joseph Cook. Like I said, notably, all three admitted to being high at the time that this happened. All right? Now, these guys, they describe a girl dressed in red from head to toe. She's fairly tall, and estimated her age was in her early 20s. Also, she had a lazy eye, and she had a tattoo on her thigh, and it was letters, possibly a name, a word, something to that effect. They can't make it out. All right? Now, enter Kiera, who was initially questioned about this, thinking the murder of Christian Hinton, a Block Crip, was retaliation for the murder of Marquel Norman, Kiera's boyfriend, who was a member of a rival gang, which was the 107 Hoover Crips. Okay? That sets up why Kiera was introduced into this investigation. Now, what evidence do they have against Kiera? DNA? Fingerprints? Basically, all they had was the word of three guys who were high, admittedly, and that's all they have. That's it. That's all they had. Now, these guys are known gang members, too, which doesn't speak highly towards your reputation. All right? That's basically the prosecution's case, because Kiera gets charged with murder over the death of Christian Hinton. All right? And that's what she gets charged. That's the evidence they use to bring forth these charges. Okay? Now you're thinking, well, she must have had no alibi, nothing. You'd be wrong. She has the best alibi of anybody I have ever seen convicted of a crime. Let's go through her alibi a little bit, okay? Number one, she has her teacher. Now, her teacher and her aren't these great friends. She hasn't known her since she was 2. Kiera just started going to this new school after, what had happened with her boyfriend after he was murdered. I think they were worried about retaliation, something with her at school, something to that effect. She ends up going to a new school. So this teacher doesn't know her, doesn't have no long-standing relationship. Okay? Her name's Rebecca Woodruff. Okay? Now, this teacher showed records of Kiera signing in at 8 a.m. That's when she got to school. And it shows her being present at 10:15 and 12:15, and she also had 6 assignments that she had done in school that day. Okay. Now, when I talk about these sign-in things, this school is really it's strict. There's a 8-foot fence around this thing, a gate. You can't get in or out. The doors stay locked. Number one, just getting out of school, period, would have been next to impossible. Right? Okay. Now, Christian was shot at 11:30 a.m. by a woman in red. Kiera was seen throughout the day in her uniform, which was black pants and a white polo shirt. Okay? And that's important because of the timeline. Now, they said the shooter had a lazy eye. Kiera does not have a lazy eye. And now we get to the meat of it, which is the timeline. It was a 26-mile round trip from school to the shooting and back. And this is in the middle of the city, so they estimated each way would be 30 minutes. So there's an hour, okay? Now remember, she is signed in at 10:15 to 12:15, all right? Now to make it even possibly work, he was shot at 11:30. She would have had to have flown back. And it's questionable how hard it is to get through the fence, the gate, the barbed wire. Just follow along, okay? She has a 26-mile round trip, which would have to include 2 wardrobe changes, because she'd had to left the school in her uniform, and she would have had to have changed into the red, shot the guy, got back in the car, changed out of the red, back into the school uniform, okay? And all that would have to fall between the 10:15 and the 12:15 time limit, which is, and now mind you, this is just times when they know she was signed in. When she actually signed in, they're saying she was there the whole time. Nobody ever states that she was unaccounted for any amount of time. All right? So, I mean, just based on that, it's rough, okay? It's rough to think she had all this going for her. A teacher vouched for her, produced records, showed assignments that had no prior relationship with her. This guy was shot by somebody that was in red, had a lazy eye. Even the people that describe it don't describe it as Kiera. And the one guy who really killed it was hold on one second, Ryan Faust. He's the one that he did the most. He was their best witness. Okay, I will say that. Now, he says when they brought in the lineup that Kiera's picture was already circled. Now, mind you, he's saying this years down the road. I don't doubt, for one thing, I don't doubt that Kiera is completely innocent. But Ryan Faust, you've got to wonder about somebody that will say that knowing that that girl is going to go to jail for something she never done. I don't know if police could force me to do that. Now, do they have leverage on him for something? Maybe. You know, I'm not in his shoes. I'm just saying it would almost be unthinkable for me to do something that I knew was a lie and put somebody in jail for 20 years. You know, now I'm not excusing the police or the prosecution in no means, because they were totally wrong in charging this, because it should have never been charged. Number one, never should this have actually went to trial. Okay. And Kiera's defense, when you go through it all, you add the fence, the how far away it was from the school, all this, when you add all this together, it's hard to believe that she could have actually got found guilty. So I blame the jury 1,000%. How they seen that evidence and come up with that conclusion, that's on the jury too. Because I mean, they believed Ryan Faust over the school teacher, apparently. Now, you explain that to me. A gang member you believed over the school teacher. That makes zero sense. Now, there is some good news that comes out of this later on, okay? In the 10 years since her sentencing, the California Innocence Project got involved, okay? And they found several people who stated Kiera was not the shooter and was set up by another member of the 107 Hoover Crips, okay? Now, fast forward, we're all the way to December 2018. California Governor Gavin Newsome grants Kiera's clemency petition. Now, that's amazing because Gavin Newsome is possibly one of the worst governors in history. But he got it right there. Give credit where credit's due. In November of 2019, she was granted parole. And then in April 7th of 2020, she walked out of prison finally. And she spent way too much time in that prison. She's a woman, a grown woman now. This woman deserves, I don't even know what you could set the dollar figure at, but she should have the rest of her life to do whatever, whenever she feels. She deserves it. It's a huge travesty what happened to her. It really is. And I blame the damn jury. I don't know how a jury convicted her, much less all the other BS. When it come down to it, how did 12 people believe the prosecution's case over the defense's case? Now, interesting enough, there is another suspect, and her name's Danielle Flynn, who had a tattoo matching the witness's description, and many people think she was the actual shooter. I don't know. But, it's great that Kiera did get out of prison. It's horrible how long she spent there. But, I want to give my final thoughts on this. And, my final thoughts on this is what gets lost in this also is there's 2 dead people, okay, who died for nothing over this gang crap. This gang life's horrible. And, some of that gang code where nobody wants to rat anybody out is bullshit. If you want anybody to respect your gang, you would do the right thing when it comes to a young girl spending her life in jail for 20 years over something she was completely innocent of. And there'd be 2 more men around today that are also lost in this story. Gang culture is horrible. I wish we could figure this out because it does nobody any good. Not one person benefits from gang culture except a few vultures at the top of the chain who are making the money off of it. That's all I'd like to say. And I'd like to say just one last time, man, that's horrible what happened to Kiera Newsome. It's a travesty. And, I hope she sees my video one day. And I want to tell you, Kiera, I hate it for you. And like I said, I think you deserve, I don't even know the dollar figure, whatever it costs for you to live the rest of your life happy and doing whatever you want to do. God bless you.